that is unknown.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello?
All right, I fucking hate Discord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate Discord on how it's like, oh, you have a new pair of headphones, you need to change all the settings.
Yeah, it's honestly, that is kind of annoying.
Really annoying, and then just hearing Brandle's notifications 30 fucking times. Again.
Like that?
Yeah.
Because you keep freezing, you and Tyler, and I don't know how to...
But it's not. You're just racist.
It's true. You're not a bit racist.
Oh, I left the call before you could finish that statement.
I bet you did, you fucking racist. He's doing his best. He's doing his best.
Yeah.
Wash myself out like I'm a spooky ghost.
Oh, boy, that's special.
That's what you get today.
I really thought he was like jacking off right there for some reason.
Oh yeah, no, my dick is just in hand.
Yeah, just like full out. I was like, oh wow, we're getting saucy today, are we?
Usually people have to pay for that.
Well,
like maybe
Brayden,
after.
Well, I was gonna say to you, I have OBS going. Would you like to finally give your presentation on wood?
My hyperfixations have changed. So no, not really.
You can't tell me that we've teased these guys for this long.
At least not today. I'm doing something. I'm up to things.
Is that right now?
Yeah.
Oh,
Many of the things, huh?
Sorry. It's just like I've been trying to get some minis painted up.
That all that 40 Warhammer bullshit.
Yes.
You're spending all your monies on it.
Yeah, so I kind of fucking get it, to be honest.
Dude, I'm sorry, but just Space Marines 2 got me way back into it.
You know, it's you can excuse yourself, but it doesn't mean that we're not disappointed in you.
We still owe the people.
You can be disappointed all you want. The only people who can judge me is God and myself.
And our like 40 to 50 viewers that we usually get.
No, they can judge me all they want too, unless they give me Patreon bucks.
Hey, they might one day, okay? We just have to put out better content.
Yeah.
Maybe one day we'll put in the effort.
Hey, I've been doing it, and I got a pretty good review for my last episode that I did, even though the video hasn't come out yet. So
when we eventually set up a Patreon, tier 1 is you are now allowed to judge Brayden for his actions.
That should honestly be in there.
That's like tier 1. It's like $1 a month. You can now judge us.
Brayden. Yeah, you're not allowed to talk shit. It's just like tier 0, the free tiers. Like you're not allowed to talk shit, but you can see previews.
Yeah,
you can like join, like access the something, and then tier 1 where you start paying is like you are now allowed to talk shit.
Yeah. Well, it's because now they're technically an investor, right? So that's...
I would consider it a producer.
Yeah. Kinda.
Brandle loves producing.
Brandle's always producing.
And
he is always producing.
Yeah, he is.
Every given point of...
Yeah. No.
Something like that.
So then, Brayden, how's your new hyperfixation going?
Oh, it's fucking great.
You want to pull out the presentation on this?
When I actually have something to show.
Okay, I want a 10-page PowerPoint on the Horus Heresy by next stream.
Oh, wait, just the Horus Heresy?
Just the Horus Heresy, just to make it easier. So that way,
Okay, I
Brandle
can
can learn.
talk for longer than 10 pages.
I know, but like, just kind of like break it down in simple terms for him. So like next episode, he can catch up with some people.
No, it's I could probably talk about that right now.
Okay, yeah,
just
go ahead.
The new like mini series is explaining Warhammer 40k lore to
Brandle.
Yeah.
I'm so belligerent to all this. I don't.
Yeah. Belligerent, so like you're angry, like you hate it?
No, well,
or disrespectful.
Passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive. Okay, that's fair.
Why are you so aggressively passive?
Because I don't want to spend $400,000 for fucking.
You don't have to.
Yeah, you don't have to.
But no one is forcing you. No one has a gun to your head telling you.
Be someone. Like in the community, they don't fucking give a shit. Okay, like
really
you just need to know the lore.
I need to be somebody.
You have to have a favorite chapter. You have to have a favorite faction. As long as you have that, they don't care.
I guarantee you 3/4 of the fans have never actually played the tabletop game. I fucking guarantee to you that. Okay, I am actually more than positive because they focus on the fucking video games for this franchise more than they focus on the tabletop game.
I'm pretty like the game tabletop game is pretty hot, but like
it's solid. It's a fun game.
But yeah, it's like a large majority of people never touched it.
Yeah.
Not surprised.
Yeah, so you just need to know the lore. So stop being belligerent.
But what if it keeps me fueled?
Like it's the only thing that can bring you joy.
To watch other people suffer.
Well, then you should actually buy the minis and fucking
spend the
spend a shit ton of money just so you can like piss off some people.
Yeah, people who are seriously.
Yeah, just get Custodes. Just get a Custodes army, and you'll kick ass.
Dude,
Custodes. You could probably build a decent one for $500.
Huh?
You could probably build a decent Custodes army for $500.
Dude, for 500, you could build a meta competition grade Custodes army.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
wait, there's fucking.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, some of the matches can last for like 3 or 4 days.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say.
Well, no, there has been.
No.
What's the longest? Oh, fuck it. I'm gonna Google this.
There was that one guy who like wanted to fight like some dude's 10,000 point collection of orcs. It's where it took up like 2 floors of their warehouse, and you had to hire people to like take turns on different sides of the table.
Game always been like popular.
Oh no, it definitely increased in popularity with Space Marine 2, like for sure.
Oh, it fucking skyrocketed. Fucking YouTubers are getting into it now.
Like they've always had a pretty good following, enough to kind of keep afloat as a business, but this is 100% like
it just went from like millions a year to fuck off, now we're making billions.
They essentially got the Wizards of the Coast treatment of like an influx of cash, like when Magic really boomed. It's kind of something similar to that.
Yeah, how like Magic's thing was Commander that took off.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, it's because Wizard of the Coast is fucking shit.
The game kicked off at 11 a.m. and ended at 11:30 p.m. So yeah, an entire day. It was like a 12-hour
How many
match.
points was it?
10,000.
10,000.
Wait, no. Sorry, it wasn't 10,000 points. It was 743,230 painted points. And then the big game had 848,000 on 2 tables. So it's just your total army count. You're supposed to have 2,000 points.
It depends on what kind of game you're playing.
Like a standard match, that's.
The standard ones are 1,000, 2,000, and 3,000.
Yeah, so
tournaments are going to be 2,000.
Yeah, and each mini is worth a certain amount of points. Oh my god, I'm trying to think. A Custodes is worth 300.
I'm trying to think because Custodes is an elite army, so their shit is oh yeah, we cost a lot, but we hit hard.
Okay, there's a whole spreadsheet. Okay, so Alaris SC is 105 points. Trajan is 190. No, that makes sense. Okay, so and then a VLR is going to cost you 300 points. A jetpack or a jet bike would be 95 points. Oh wait, no, they updated it. Yeah.
10th edition.
Yeah, 10th edition. Fucking 10th edition. But and so if you have a VLR or a jet bike mini, that would be, if you had both of them, that's 395 points, and then plus any of your Custodes characters, right? So if you have a Laris, they're only worth 60. Wardens are 47 points. Vendred are 130. Galatis is going to be 175, and so you have to essentially build up your army and have it total 2,000 points in a standard match. So that way it's an even battle.
For people were saying if you want to start a Custodes army, just buy 2 combat patrols and then 1 or 2 other things, and you have a 2,000 point army that's almost ready to go.
Yeah. It means you'll have a very good, decent team that you can just kind of whip out and start playing, and you can learn to play with. Yeah. And there's just a bunch of different combinations of things. You can get vehicles, you can get
player against player and setup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you just go ahead.
And then if you play Custodes, you get to be really annoying and go, "We're Henry Cavill's favorite army."
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Why?
Because Henry Cavill loves Custodes. Because he loves being OP.
He is so hard for Custodes.
He is. He's got a huge heart on. Well, okay, so Custodes are some of the Emperor's first bioengineered humans, and these guys were made to be actually perfect, in every conceivable way.
They are the guards of the corpse.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially they are the human perfection, because so the Emperor, when he first showed up, he had the Thunder Warriors and he had the Custodes.
Yeah.
The Custodes were bioengineered to be perfect, and then the Thunder Warriors were basically just hey, might as well just smack a bunch of organs into a dude.
Yeah.
Make them die, make them have to eat and cannibalize and replace their organs frequently, but they'll serve their purpose.
Well, okay, so we got to explain the timeline a bit here. Yeah, okay. So we're going to bridge the timelines. Okay, so 10,000 BC, the Emperor of Mankind is essentially created by...
No, that's not the beginning. You have to start off with the...
the War in Heaven. Oh my God. Okay, so the War in Heaven you had these really gross frog-looking alien monsters that was essentially Jesus. Okay, they were space Jesus.
This is space.
And then you had these Egyptian sickly alien race that like went to Space Jesus, and Space Jesus decided not to heal them and help them, and that really pissed them off.
Their planet gave them cancer. They were
their planet literally gave them cancer. Yeah, like mega cancer. And so then the Egyptians decided to go to Space Hitler, and like a bunch of other Space Hitlers.
Who was also kind of like a star.
Yeah, kind of like a nebula.
Vampire, space vampire.
Yeah, space vampire Hitler. And they made a deal with them because like space vampire Hitler hated space Jesus. Frog space Jesus. Really hated them. Jesus. Like with a burning passion. Kinda.
No, okay, so Space Jesus were the old ones, and like in their free time, they got their rocks off by like seeding life onto random ass planets.
Yeah, they just like doing that, and it's implied that they created humanity.
Okay.
Yeah, and I can't remember what their first name was called. Basically like the Necrons before they were Necrons.
Oh, yeah, the Necron tier.
Necron tier, thank you. And basically they're like, hey, we're born with super cancer. Like, we have managed to get off of our planet, but now cancer's genetic.
Yeah.
Well,
we are all born with cancer.
Yeah, they're auto born. It's like super Alzheimer's too.
Wow.
Yeah, no, they had a real rough.
How are they still around?
Well, they're not. So after they made the deal with Space Hitler, Space Hitler decided to be like,
they wanted immortality because they wanted immortality. Cancer.
Yeah, so he was like, I can give you immortality by making you dead, and he gave them all metal, like super metal bodies. That essentially, and they sucked out their souls. They didn't
tell them that they were going to eat their souls.
Yeah. And so they made like AI replica of like their entire being. So like it's this 1-to-1 perfect replica of like who they were, but it's a robot.
But only some of them got their personalities kept into their bodies.
Yeah. Well, quite a few. Like most of the royalty did.
All of the royalty, I think, actually.
All of them? Yeah. So all of the royalty got to keep their personalities, but like, yeah.
But the royalty all hate each other.
They do. Yeah. It's, but they all follow the, what's his name? The king, the Undying King or the
Silent King.
The Silent King. So he united them all against the old ones, and it was like the first time that had ever happened, and he's the one who kind of brokered the deal and then realized he was being shit on, and then they eventually turned against Space Hitler too after they finished off the old ones. Well, the old ones retreated because like the battle was fucking crazy, and they would end up developing these weapons that could like terminate entire galaxies. Like they could just touch it like at this map, they could touch it and blink out a star.
And that was the insane weakest.
That was like the weakest weapon.
One. And then the old ones, so Space Jesus, were like, to fight you, we have to bioengineer life. So we're going to create the orcs and the Eldari, which are the elves.
Yeah, so they made sexy elves, and then they made these brutish orcs. Well, they weren't called orcs. They were
Corks.
They were the Corks. Yeah, so Corks, who were smarter and like had complete like reality bending powers.
No, the reality bending powers came later.
Oh, it came later? I thought the Corks had like control over it. Okay, they're just smarter and stronger, whatever. They're essentially, they're like the ground troops, and then the Eldari had control over psychic. So like God, now we have to explain the warp.
Lots of magic.
Yeah, so they had like really cool magic spirit powers that they got from like this chaos realm called the warp that the Necrons couldn't really interact with because they don't have souls.
Basically hell. If
kind of.
hell was...
Well, no. It's not just hell, but like it became hell because of all those fucking evil gods.
Yes.
Like taking over big chunks of the warp. So like their domain became like these huge iterations of the warp.
So war tied into everything.
Yes. It is important. Like this is why like every Warhammer lore video starts with it, because it kind of sets the foundation, for like how all this works. And so anyways, eventually they push back the old gods, but then the Eldari
into super weapons.
Yeah, but the Eldaris and the Quarks actually do fuck up the Necrons, and then the Space Hitler, the Necrons go fuck them up too, and they fade away and like just go hide off in deep space. And
no, like they get turned into weapons.
Yes, they get turned into weapons because like they essentially break apart their souls and they become like these little soul crystals that the Necrons use to fuel their weapons. They're like supercharged weapons.
And then one of the Catan get to Mars and then start up that mess.
Oh yeah, that's like getting deeper into it, man. We're trying to abridge this.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't feel like the, but I believe you that it is.
No, it definitely is. Like I have skipped over so much.
I'm sure you have.
Oh my god. Okay. So now we get into the birth of the Emperor. Well, okay. Do you want to get into the birth of Slaanesh?
Literal Jesus, not space Jesus. The Emperor is born, and then Slaanesh happens later, and that's what causes the Emperor to be like, "Hey guys, I've been here the whole time."
Yeah. So what happens is actual Jesus is born when these psychics on Earth all have the same vision of Earth just getting completely annihilated, like destroyed. And so to prevent that, they decide that they need to make a new human, a Newman, if you will. And they combine all their psychic energy and they put it all into this one baby who becomes the Emperor of Mankind, who's just this like uber powerful
baby.
Yeah. He's literally like the most powerful being in the universe, more than likely.
More than
the
likely.
only
all four Chaos Gods had to team up to try and like prevent his plans a little bit.
Okay.
I think like yes, just because like we don't have time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
boy.
Okay, Emperor of Mankind kind of fucks around. He supposedly guides humanity every now and then,
religion.
Yeah, he hates religion. He's a complete atheist, which is hilarious because he's like a god.
I was gonna say that, and he have his own cult.
Yeah. And humans eventually develop super advanced technology, and this is when we get into the dark age of technology, even though this is when humanity is at its apex. I'm talking wormholes, a bunch of like interstellar travel, and these AI machines that can just terraform galaxies, basically. It's insane technology.
Like a machine that can wrap itself around a sun, snuff it out, so that way all life on the planet they want to colonize dies. Then they unwrap the sun and go colonize it because everything on it's dead.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how they did that.
That's fucked up.
It's way fucked up. But that's how humans be, dude. Yeah.
Honestly, if we ever get to that point,
yeah. I mean, fuck it. If you don't know them, you can't feel bad for killing a bunch of kids. So
And we're gonna get way into kid killing later.
Oh yes, that happens quite a bit in
There's
this universe.
There's so many
So
dead
much
kids.
kid killing. Yeah.
Lobotomized babies that got retconned.
Yeah,
Wow.
they did get retconned. I can't believe they did that. Honestly, you know, it's kind of like, yes, it was a fucked up part of the lore, but like it kind of made you feel like, oh wow, this is like really terrible. Anyways, eventually the machines decide to revolt as predicted. You know, Skynet happens, and this causes a big whoopsie doodle for humanity. Humanity almost gets completely wiped out, and then the Emperor is like, "Hey guys, I'm here to save the day."
Planet. The big part about that is every planet that humanity colonized lost all communication with each other.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of just these human worlds out there who have absolutely no connection with like other humans. Some of them don't even realize that other humans exist.
I don't know how they would ever get separated.
Just because like enough generations happen without communication, people are going to start thinking it's a myth.
Like across the galaxy, like throughout the galaxy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you gotta think this is taking place like hundreds of thousands of years at this point, from the old god, the war in heaven, to that point. And then like from the Dark Age to like the next 10,000, it's 10,000 years, man, of like a Dark Age. That's a ton of human generations. That's enough time for people to be like, this is myth.
Yeah, right.
Well, think about it. Like, you know, how we view like Zeus and like all these other myths. Like, we just completely think it's all made up bullshit because it sounds ridiculous. But like, who knows? There might have actually been some guy named Zeus who fucking had like something that could control lightning. And people treated him like a god.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You know that.
You weren't
then one of the Dark Angels was like, yo, my name is Zeus now.
Yes, that okay. We can't get into that yet. Again, we're bridging this. So, the Emperor of Mankind, who you know was just kind of dicking around and probably could have definitely prevented the AI massacre that happened, but you know, decided not to.
There's no probably. It's definitely he could have.
He could have 100% could have, but chose not to because the Emperor is a bit of a dick. Everyone is evil.
One of the major plot points in it is the Emperor was kind of a fucking huge asshole.
Yes. So he builds out it's thought that he might have actually built the Custodes like way back in 10,000 BC or something like that too. He might have like begun bioengineering way earlier than people thought because there's like cave drawings of Custodes in the lore, which is a whole other thing. But
and he realized he was the most powerful human was because he got mad at his uncle for killing his father. So he looked at his uncle and then just said, die. And then he stopped breathing and he stopped his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is when he was like a kid growing, like before he became, you know. Yeah. But again, we're abridging this, Brayden. We're not getting into the lore. We're trying to like bite-size this for him. This fucking feast. We're trying to put it into one sandwich. One really big sandwich. Mind you.
You know the sandwich from...
It's like a Thanksgiving leftovers.
Yes.
Yeah. Or that's the
Adventure Time?
Adventure Time or more kind of...
Or
the ultimate sandwich.
You mean regular show?
Regular show.
Regular show, yeah. Yeah, kind of like that. Anyway, so then he builds the Custodes who are like perfect, and then he realizes he just needs like a shit ton of people because at this point humanity on Earth had like broken up into these different factions, and these factions all controlled like some of this technology from the Dark Age where they could like wipe out suns, you know. And so like these different places, like these different factions could do different things, and the Emperor of Mankind needed just a shit ton of really strong dudes who could come in and brutalize these people to make them all submit to him. And so he made the Thunder Warriors. And then once the Thunder Warriors were all done doing that and he conquered Terra or Earth, so it's called Terra at this point. He then has his Custodes wipe out the Thunder Warriors because they're all these brutally insane killers
that explode randomly.
They do explode.
Really?
Yes.
Grunts.
Yeah. And then after
they also kind of turn into cannibals randomly.
They start eating people. Yeah. So after that's done,
thing that made the Emperor pop up, right? The elves, while this has been going on, they've basically ruled the entire galaxy.
Yep.
They've conquered everything. And then they're like, well, we're basically immortal. We reincarnate. And we got no more work to do because we own everything. Do we just want to start up a galaxy-wide orgy?
Yeah.
Really?
That involves a lot of slaves and a lot of torture.
I thought that you were bored, but okay.
No, it's
I guess they're that bored, I guess, huh?
No, that is literally the problem. They are just super fucking bored.
Funny that it devolves sex slavery.
Yeah, and they do that so much, and they get so insane with it, and like so graphic and horrible. They literally create a new god that tears a hole in the universe that opens up like the warp to the physical realm. So like you can actually like go and enter into the warp, which you could before. Technically, there was ways to do it. It was just very complicated. But now there's like you can actually see like that fucking realm, and it's seeping into reality. And so a bunch of demons come out, and Slaanesh is born, the demon prince of like greed, lust, and excess. Yeah. So
I feel like with this thing, anything that they could, anything you thought of that could be part of the storyline.
Yeah, that's part of it. Warhammer lore is so massive.
It's rule of cool everything.
Yeah. So there's Warhammer like planets where it's more fantasy based. Actually, there's the Warhammer Fantasy where it's like actual like D&D. Like there's like paladins. There's
Age of Sigmar, and then you get the Skaven, so the Rat Clan, and they're great. I love those guys.
But then Warhammer 40K is like the main. It's the spacefaring one. So and that's the one most people will recognize. But like you still recognize like the D&D Warhammer stuff too. And the gods from the 40K universe is also the same in the regular Warhammer universe, which is interesting. And it's a whole other side topic, basically.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, because they said it's not a world or it's not a multiverse. It's like its own thing, except the gods are so powerful they transcend universes.
Yeah, so there can only be like one iteration of them. So they exist simultaneously in both planes.
Sounds terrifying.
It is a little bit.
Oh, it is. And then the four main gods, you have Khorne, god of war, blood, glory. He loves a good skull.
He does. He loves skull fucking.
He cares not from where the blood flows. He only cares that the blood doth flow.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Big fan of
you have Nurgle. You have Grandpa Nurgle. He loves you. He loves you so much, and he wants to give you presents.
Does love you. Yes.
He wants to give you presents.
He wants to give you lots of presents.
Still don't like the implications.
He's just giving you the gift of disease.
Oh. Okay, well, I really don't want it.
And pestilence. It's just more disease. Yeah.
It's just a lot of disease.
Yeah.
And rot.
And rot and stinky and poo-poo and doo-doo.
He is very stinky.
He's a very stinky boy.
Why?
But he loves you so much.
No.
He loves you.
He honestly, like, out of all of the gods, that is the only one that actually genuinely cares for his subjects.
Really? And he's the one that spreads
Plagues.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right?
But like once you get into his lore specifically, you're like, oh, if you understand his line of thinking, you're like, yeah, no, Grandpa Nurgle does love you.
Yeah.
But that's also how he gets.
Mm-hmm.
I want it.
And then you have Zinch. You have Zinch, basically gotta change, hope, sorcery, bullshit.
Knowledge is his main thing.
Machiavellian plans.
Yeah, like over the top planning, like light Yagami planning.
Like all according to Kikaku level.
Yeah, all according to Cake. Yeah. So, and then you have Slanesh, the god of excess.
Yep.
And horniness. Yeah. So,
like excess in all its forms. So when
you get a little too into playing musical instruments, that's excess.
Dude, I want that. I want to. They need to come out with Noise Marines and Emperor's Children.
No, seriously though, that'd be fucking great. Okay. Anyways, back to the Emperor now.
Okay.
So the Emperor decided after the Thunder Warriors, and he was kind of like, man, these guys are fucking weird. I need to do a better job. And instead of like putting all the worst aspects of humanity into like the Super Warrior, it's like a little bit easier to create. He's going to try to put like the best aspects of humanity. And that's when the Space Marines are essentially born. The Adeptus Custodes, yeah. So, and these guys are just stronger, better. They have like 2 hearts. They have extra lungs. They have like an extra stomach that will like let them spit out acid.
They can eat people to gain their memories.
Some of them can, not all of them, but yes. And so like this, and like they're like 100 times greater than any human on Earth. And then Custodes is like 100 times greater than any of those Adeptus Custodes. So like, it's like 10,000. The Custodes is like 10,000 times better than any normal human. Like the best human possible. They're like 10,000 times better. Yeah.
Measure that.
Well, to think about this, one Custodes could wipe out like 10,000. Like an arm. Well, like didn't one Custodes just like completely wipe out a platoon of like Chaos Marines or something like that?
Yeah, Chaos Marines. It's not that they could wipe out thousands, but like one Custodes, if we're going back to the game, one Custodes is like a squad of 10 Space Marines, like regular Space Marines.
They're that good. Yeah, it's kind of nuts. Anyways, from there, the Emperor also decides it's time to get to fucking. And by fucking, it's more bioengineering.
But not really.
Yeah. Just much more bioengineering. He wants to create his specifically like his children and the Primarchs. He starts making the Primarchs with like his GF from back in 10,000 BC, who's this perpetual.
Whose name is Urda.
Urda, yeah. And so he uses like her eggs and his sperm, and then bioengineers these perfect little babies that are going to take over different legions for him to like kind of guide and lead. Anyways, go ahead.
He says perfect, but Emperor is a little fucky wucky sometimes.
He's very fucky wucky.
And he's an asshole.
Yeah.
So he says perfect, but just remember he is an asshole.
Yeah. Yeah, basically. Anyways, so he makes 12 of these guys. Well, 13.
20.
No, is it 20?
He makes 20.
20. And then loses all of them because Erda's like, oh my god, you're gonna just turn them into weapons.
You're gonna turn my sons into war criminals.
Yeah.
Well, what did you think I was doing?
I know, honestly, she should have seen that coming from him. This is a guy who like conquered Earth.
Yeah.
And Mars. Well, he made a treaty with Mars. That's a whole other thing.
Because of the space cult.
Yeah, there's like a whole space cult.
I fucking hate the Mechanicus. But
yeah, so like the Mechanicus had like a bunch of like again, Dark Age technology, and they worshiped machines, and then they viewed the Emperor as like this machine god, basically. Because
after
the Emperor
he killed the old machine god.
Yeah, after he killed it. The Emperor has this ability to essentially make people perceive him as like the greatest thing ever.
Good.
Like their object, like the object of their complete desire and worship. That's how they all view him. Besides like the Primarchs and like a couple other people who are considered null, and they have like this anti-warp field where they can't be affected by the warp as much. And the Emperor's just super strong with the warp, basically, which is kind of like the Force from Star Wars, but better.
But also hell, but also magic.
Yes. It's hell magic. Okay. And so then all the Primarchs go off into different worlds, and the Emperor's like, well, fuck, now I gotta go find my kids. And
the start up the Crusades.
Yes, and Crusades start happening, and they start wiping out a bunch of alien species. And
reconnecting all of the worlds that were lost after the Dark Age of technology.
Yeah, so he starts reconnecting all of them and getting them back into the Imperium, his Imperium of Man. And he goes on, he finds his sons one by one, gets them all back eventually. They all start leading.
Some are fucked.
Some are pretty fucked up.
So, two of them get struck from the history books. We don't know why.
Yep. No idea why.
They're mentioned way too many times for it to be like a throwaway. Make your own legion.
Yeah. So there's now 18 of them left, right? Oh, yeah, and then he also technically made Primarch 0, which is like this crazy angel that would like go on rampages, and it took like most of the Custodes to like bring them to the Emperor, where the Emperor could like essentially trick them, and then they'd like knock him out using some trank, basically, and then put him like deep down in this hole in Earth, where he remains until like it's like an absolute emergency. So yeah, that's technically a Primarch, but that's kind of neither here nor there. Anyways.
And then one Primarch has a twin.
Yes.
But they are not twin Primarchs. When they opened up the warp, basically the warp created a clone of him. And he's like, I am so sneaky. I am so sneaky. You don't know what side I'm on. You don't know who I am. I have a twin brother that I'm just not telling anybody about because nobody fucking knows.
Alfarius, yeah. Oh, and the way the Emperor got souls for the Primarchs is he essentially went into the warp, made some sort of deal with Tzeentch, and maybe
all of the
Chaos Gods, and essentially took what most people believe to be deities, like minor deities in the warp's souls, and put them in the bodies of the Primarchs. So like that's why they're all like super strong and like have like these different abilities where they're like SS class and X thing, and then like this other person's like a really good at this other thing, but like they are so far and above beyond just perfect. Like they're able to think like innovatively, and it works almost every time. Like that's how these Primarchs work. Yeah, because like otherwise it's like why not just have the Custodes?
Well, the Custodes, their thing is there's not a lot of them.
There's not, but
Only
like again, it's the reason why he didn't just create more Custodes to fill these roles is because he wanted essentially these beings with like almost equivalent amount of power that he has. Well, less, but you know. Yeah. Yeah, and he treats them like his actual kids,
He treats some of them.
Some of them good.
He has his favorites, and he has some that he really doesn't like.
Yes.
Lorgar.
Conrad.
He really doesn't like Lorgar.
Yeah, he really doesn't like Lorgar. But to be fair, Lorgar also just kind of sucks.
Lorgar does suck.
Yeah. So it's like, I can almost be like, I get it. I get why the Emperor doesn't like this kid.
Though.
It is fucked up. But like, if that was my kid, I would also hate him.
Wow.
Dude,
no, like straight up. If you read about him, you'll agree.
Like each one of the Primarchs was like raised on a different planet, right?
Yeah.
And the Emperor's big thing is, hey, we must all be atheists.
And Lorgar was like, fuck that. You're my god.
And Lorgar is like, oh, but we need to worship a god.
Yeah.
And then the Emperor was like, if you want me to treat you like a god, then fucking kneel.
Mm-hmm.
And that the Emperor's entire thing is like, don't treat me like I'm a fucking god. Because he also doesn't want people to find out that there are gods.
Yes. Because then it will cause them to like maybe go worship those other gods and cause this like schism in humanity when he needs them all to be united. Yeah.
I don't know how well that actually works.
It doesn't. It doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. Yeah. It makes you wonder like how stupid the Emperor of Mankind actually might be.
Yeah, for having that.
And then you realize how much of a genius he is.
At the same time, yeah, it's kind of nuts. Yeah, it's the dichotomy of the Emperor of Mankind is fascinating because
it's like he is the we would need to talk for an hour about the Emperor's like writing traits.
Yeah, because it's fascinating as like if you're gonna read any of the books, read the Primarch novels. They're all really good, and they give you like really good in-depth explanation of everything.
You get to find out about so many war crimes.
Yes, lots of war crimes. Lots of civilization extermination. Yeah.
A lot of like kids being lobotomized.
And yeah. It's fucked up, man.
There's a lot of lobotomy in Warhammer because after the Dark Age technologies, AI and machine thinking gone, banned. Yeah. So all machinery has to pass through a human. But if you just take a criminal, or if you just take like a criminal, lobotomize him, and then strap all the wires straight to his head, technically it's going through a human.
Yes.
Right. And they're not allowed to create new technologies, except the Mechanicus sometimes do, but they say they found it.
Well, yeah, there's slates. Again, there's so much.
Yeah.
There is so much lore. Okay, after all the Primarchs are found, things are going pretty okay for a little while until eventually Lorgar. Until Lorgar was like, okay, so the Emperor of Mankind hates me. He's not actually a god. I need to find a new god. And then I need to find a new god. And the Chaos Gods are like, hey, maybe you should like convince your brother Horus or someone to like, come over here too, because the Emperor's like actually a totally bad dude. And Logar's like, LOL, okay.
Hey, you guys are gods, you promise?
Yeah, and then one of Lorgar's followers ends up finding like this sword, and then gives it to Horus, and then the sword corrupts Horus.
No, that's the sword that gets given to a Primarch is Fulgrim, so Emperor's Children that corrupts him. He gives a blade that can harm a Primarch to a random dude that Horus was set to go fight.
Yes. And so this dude wounds Horus, nearly kills him. And while Horus is like in a comatose state, his spirit essentially meets with the Chaos Gods. And the Chaos Gods...
Lorgar takes him to a warrior lodge.
Yes.
Where they just sedate him.
Yeah. And keep him sedated until he becomes corrupted, essentially. And Horus was like the master of the most important army for the Emperor of Mankind. So
he is the Emperor's favorite. He is the closest one that the Emperor treats to like an actual son.
Yeah.
Like you have Sanguinius.
Yeah, Sanguinius is also like
now I'm sad.
Close. Yeah.
I fucking love Sanguinius.
Anyway, so Horus gets corrupted and is like, oh man, my dad is actually super evil. And like, you know, he's trying to become a god. And he's just been manipulating all of us this entire time, which isn't wrong.
Not wrong.
But what the Chaos Gods were trying to do is also equally wrong and the same shit. But like, most of humanity dies if the Chaos Gods do it. If the Emperor does it, humanity survives. So it's like lesser of two evils.
And Horus's line of thinking was like, it's either me or my dad.
Yes. Like it can only be one of them. And so Horus is like, well, fuck that. And begins to corrupt some of the other Primarchs who he immediately went to the Primarchs that like he knew weren't his dad's favorites and kind of had a grudge against the Emperor and got them to switch pretty easily. And then they got all of their armies. They went, well, some, and they went and had their armies kind of turn on each other, like, and kill the ones that wouldn't follow them and become traitors. And that's a big event.
Hey, why are all of us who are the most loyal to the Imperium of Man on this one mission? The mission was lied to. Why are they nuking us from orbit?
Yes. So they're getting nuked from orbit. That was a big deal. And that's when the Horus Heresy begins. And it's like this 10,000 long year war.
No, it's 9.
Was it 9,000 years?
It's 9 years.
Oh, 9 years. Sorry. Oh, sorry. After the Horus Heresy ends, it's 10,000 years until 40K starts.
Okay.
Sorry.
Title of the game.
Yeah, so we're in the year 30K right now. So this 9-year war. It causes like most of the Primarchs to either die and or be shot off into deep space. The Emperor
turned
into demons. The Emperor ends up getting mortally wounded and becomes like a Skeletor and gets put on
the Emperor's gay best friend is like, I got you.
Mm-hmm. And
I'm gonna make the assassins and the Inquisition.
Oh yes. And then the Inquisition begins, and Horus ends up dying. The Emperor unmakes him using his sword because he has this.
Literally unmakes him. Soul does not exist
anymore.
Like erased.
He's completely erased from existence.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sanguinius dies fighting Horus before the Emperor can unmake him. But then again, Horus is able to wound the Emperor. And before the Emperor can die, they put him on
the Emperor. The Emperor was like, no, my favorite son you can still be my son as he's laying next to the headless body of Sanguinius.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow.
And then once he hurts the Emperor's like, time to learn today, son, and just fucking erases him.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, and then again, they put him on this throne. This throne kind of is like a life support. Like he's all tied up to tubes and shit. And it requires a ton of psychic energy to keep going. So the Emperor's gay best friend rounds up like a bunch of psychers.
No, his gay best friend was put on the throne so the Emperor could leave the throne and fight Horus, and it basically sucks all of the soul juice
out of the person. No.
Yes. But yes and no. It's complicated.
Very complicated. We're not going to get into it.
Okay.
For all intents and purposes, no. But also yes, but no.
Oh my God.
Okay.
But also mostly yes, and also not yet.
Okay. And so now the Emperor is sitting on the throne and has a bunch of psychers sacrifice themselves to him, like 10,000 souls a day. For like
1,000. He just eats 1,000 of them.
Yeah, he eats like 1,000 souls a day. And he may be the most insanely powerful being ever in existence right now, because that's been going on for like 10,000 years.
Because in Warhammer, the more belief and worship you have, the stronger you are.
Yeah.
So, like, the reason why the joke is that if the orcs believe it, it comes true is because there's so many of them and they're all fucking stupid.
Yeah, they're just so stupid that they just believe everything is like they think is true, so they can just bring things into existence.
Like, they are basically mushrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many of them. If every single one of them thinks, hey, red is the fastest color, that means if they paint their car red, it goes faster.
Yeah. No, and it literally goes faster.
Okay.
Like their ships that are red are like the fastest.
Really? Oh, so this is something you're saying. This is something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So the Emperor, it's theorized right now that he's like this mega god, because you got to think about it, it's like 10,000 years compounded over the fact that he's been eating thousands of souls and, well, probably a countless number of souls at this point. But he's definitely
the second he was away, so he couldn't go, no, don't worship me. Basically, everyone was like, hey, let's worship him.
Yes. Like the instant he left. So Logar technically won. The Emperor's most hated child won.
Yeah, that's
right. Yeah, like
I feel like this timeline, I simultaneously just like how this.
I feel like we gave a pretty good recap.
Yeah, I believe that. Just
yeah.
I do.
We're still 10,000 years in the past.
Yeah, we haven't gone over all of the legions.
Well, I will say you got me a little closer to actually being kind of.
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. Yeah. We did a good job.
Hell yeah. All right, so let's speed run the rest of the war, right?
Go ahead, Bray. You got this.
All right, so
a lot of pressure.
Primarch for the Ultramarines. So the fucking blueberries that are poster childs that are way too utilized in everything.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, hey, let me write down a book. It's called the Codex Astartes, and it fucks up everything.
Yeah.
So now instead of being a legion of Space Marines, they now are chapters of Space Marines where they can only have 1,000. So they're never able to like genocide a species that they're fighting.
Yeah.
Right. Eventually, he wakes up, which is a big plot point involving an elf's ass.
Yes.
Okay.
No, he's not even kidding you. It's like actually,
Wow.
yeah.
Plus, also best girl.
Yes, best girl.
That's another fucking story. He comes back and goes, "What the fuck? You guys took me literally."
Yeah. So his whole idea was like, listen, this is just like a good set of guidelines. These are rules that like maybe we should like implement and like practice. And everyone's like, this is a holy text. This is
a holy text. Because dude is in a coma for 10,000 years after he gets bitch slapped a little bit. But he's like, hey,
Brother Fulgrim. It's a whole other thing.
That's oh my god, Fulgrim.
Yeah, Fulgrim worships.
I fucking love.
Becomes a demon.
He is the best snaky boy.
He's very snaky. Perturabo is funny though. I like that guy, even though he's kind of an asshole. But like
he's an asshole, but he is like the smartest asshole.
He's a very smart asshole. Okay. Honest. Okay, we're at the hour mark.
No, wait. All right, finish reading this, okay? All the Chaos Space Marines get pushed into the Eye of Terror. They're living in the warp. The warp time travels differently, so the same Marines trade the Emperor are the same Marines that are attacking the Imperium Man, right? Yeah, they haven't aged at all, but they've all become horrifically corrupted.
Yes. They don't even realize from Horus Heresy.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Horus's captain is like, yo, I'm kind of in charge now. Let me do 13 Black Crusades.
Yeah.
That failed, but also didn't fail because they had secret objectives. Ends up destroying a planet called Cadia.
Yeah.
Because he was a sore loser and rammed his like planet-sized spaceship into the planet.
Yeah.
And then that
didn't it like widen
the rift.
Yeah.
No, it creates the rift.
Yeah, the rift.
Which splits the galaxy in two.
Yes.
And like one half of the galaxy is completely fucked. And the newest crusade is about helping the other side of the rift get reconnected back. But then you get Tyranids getting very hungry.
Mm-hmm.
The elves are just trying to survive, but also they have different ways of trying to survive. And one of them is worse than the other. Let's just say that. Then you have the fish people, the Tau, and they're just Gundams, but in a cult.
Yes.
Because communism.
Yeah, they're communists. That's a whole. They're fish communists.
They're fish communists, but also have a hierarchy.
Yeah, well, that's okay. Like capitalism, communism, it all ends up becoming the same thing. It's just totalitarianism. Okay, like that's what it is. The
Mechanicus accidentally wake up the Necrons because they're stupid.
Yes. Well, it could be argued that Silent King that was the timer. The timer.
No, they weren't supposed to wake up for like another million.
Was it another million years? I thought it was like another.
Yeah, because they were going to sleep for 100 million years, and the mechanics are like, "Yo, press this fucking button."
Yeah, and they press the button and then wake up all the Necrons, and all the Necrons are up, and they have this crazy advanced technology, right? Well, the Silent King,
very angry.
Yes, they're very angry. The Silent King, thank God, thank the Emperor of Mankind, woke up before, realized, oh man.
No, he never went to sleep.
Well, yeah, he never went to sleep.
He never went to sleep.
So he ends up like destroying and hiding away most of like the god killing weapons that they made. And he thinks that map that I told you they can just snuff out an entire sun and like erase a galaxy was like fine. Cause like it wasn't that strong.
Yeah. And then you have another Necron who is kind of like a weird incel. His name is Trazen the Infinite, and he is the best character.
Yeah.
Like he has like a magic Pokeball, and he just collects random ass species.
Yes.
Like, gotta catch them all. He is a Pokemon trainer. He looks at the Necrons and goes,
yeah.
No, he looks at the Tyranids and goes, what the fuck is that?
I want it.
And then he like looked at it and he's like, oh, we're fucked.
Yeah. So
and then the orcs are just having a great time.
Yeah, they love war. That's like the whole point of their existence. And so
they're the comedy relief.
Yeah, the Tyranids to them are just like the perfect matchup because like they can reproduce so fast, like almost faster than the Tyranids can eat them. And the Tyranids are just yeah, go ahead.
There is one Tyranid prime. There is one prime Tyranid. Everything else is basically a cell.
Yeah.
And the orcs are like, hey, these things are fun to fight. What if we just like grab one and then drop it off a planet, then come back in like 12 years? So it's an entire planet.
Like a good fight. Yeah.
The
Tyranids use biomass to like make these perfect killing machines. So think of it as like the ultimate predator. You know, like Alien from Alien. Yeah. Okay. So imagine that, but like the alien's able to like morph itself into like whatever it needs to be. So there's giant spaceship ones that can carry a bunch of other Tyranids in it that can then like reproduce and like use the biomass to like make more Tyranids.
The guns that the Tyranid use are a different species of alien, and the bullets that they fire is a different species of alien that's inside the first species. And also, there's something called a gene stealer Tyranid, where it's like, hey, we want to eat this planet. Let's drop one dude off. He can kiss out and make out with a random person on this planet. Then over generations, we like indoctrinate the entire planet and turn them into Tyranids. And then we can just like a with a vacuum.
Yes. So they have like subterfuge as well. It's a crazy, and like it seems like they're unthinking monsters, but they actually have like plans.
The more Tyranids you have in one spot, the smarter they get.
Yeah.
And then you have the Voltan, which are basically like they're new. So like within the last couple of years, but they're basically space dwarves. Yeah. And they are clones of humans that have turned into dwarves who still have AI and still invent new technology, but they can only reproduce via cloning.
Yeah.
And there's not enough written about them. Yeah. But then you have the different chapters. You have the Space Marines. You have the Mechanicus, who suck.
Yeah, the
Mechanicus. The Mechanicus is also the most expensive army to play the tabletop game with.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
because it's big machines and
their points are so wrong that you can spend $2,000 and only have 2,000 points.
Yeah.
In Mechanicus. It's stupid. Then you have the Inquisition. Then you have the Grey Knights.
Mm-hmm.
The Imperial Knights. You also have the Chaos Knights. Gundam, but gory.
Yeah. Gory Gundam.
And then you have the Ecclesiarchy, which is the church, which is the religion, basically a cult. That Ecclesiarchy is not allowed to have men that bear arms because this douchebag named Van Dyer basically did a lot of fucked up shit.
Yeah.
A lot of war crimes, a lot of genocide, lots of having a harem,
lots of
warrior women.
Yes.
And then the church was like
potentially non-consensual.
Potentially. But also he said that God wants you to fuck me and God wants you to go fuck my friends.
Yes. Like every good cult leader does.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, the oldest game on the planet, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then those women, they are a warrior group, start off as daughters of the emperor. He renames them wives of the emperor.
Yep.
The Custodes takes 5 of them and they go visit the emperor's body, has a conversation with the emperor. She comes out and just beheads the dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
because
then they're like, hey, we have a fuck ton of warrior women. Hey, the new rules say that we can't have men who bear arms. What if we just have an entire military of very, very angry nuns?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're super nuns.
And they are my favorite faction.
They're awesome. The Sisters of Battle are fucking cool.
Like, here's my warlords that I have to paint up.
Dope as shit. So yeah,
I'm gonna look
yeah.
cool when I'm done with it.
And there's a lot of shit that we missed.
Yeah.
A lot
I'm sure.
that we missed.
So, oh my god.
That's basically the gist.
Okay. Well, I feel like there's going to be part 10.
I mean, if we want, we could just turn this into a Warhammer podcast for a while. That's fine.
Dude, we should just make a Warhammer podcast.
Yeah.
That wouldn't hurt.
Two custodies and a human. Just go.
No, we would find it. We can find a good name for it.
Yeah.
But like next we'll go over the different leagues of the Marines. We'll go over why the Sisters of Battle are so cool. We have to go over the Horus Heresy, because the Horus Heresy book series started 20-something years ago, and they finished it, last year?
Yeah.
So, 9-year stretch of time, 60 books. There are over 400 books.
Well, what would you say is your favorite book, Brayden?
Oh. Dante.